Shedeur Sanders just accomplished the unimaginable. He considered a guaranteed $60 million contract offer that would transform the lives of 99% of individuals, and he replied, no. The majority of rookies are desperate. Before they take their first hit in the NFL, the majority of rookies are rushing to guarantee their financial future, purchase their first luxury automobile, or buy their parents a house. However, Shedeur Sanders does not play the same game as everyone else. He's not engaged in a game of checkers. He's not even engaged in chess. He is engaged in a game of Monopoly. Shedeur's team resisted Gatorade's offer of a typical endorsement deal, the kind that puts your face on a bottle and a check in your bank account. They had no desire for a paycheck. They refused to pay a charge. They desired possession. Shedeur bargained for a 3% stake in Gatorade USA in lieu of the money. Give that some thought. 3%. Doesn't that sound tiny? However, you are no longer discussing endorsement money when you apply 3% to a multi-billion-dollar empire that controls the sports drink market. You are discussing wealth across generations. You're referring to checks that continue to be cashed long after you've retired. Furthermore, this transaction is only one aspect of the whole. Shedeur Sanders is on course to become the NFL's first active player billionaire, thanks to a hidden active player clause in his Nike contract and his father's groundbreaking prime equity approach. In real time, he is changing the rules governing the sports industry. However, the strain that comes with having this much money would be too much for the average person to handle. Is this the century's greatest genius, or has he set himself up for failure by putting a target on his back?
I'm on the way up. I'm on the way up. I'm on the way up.
First, let's discuss the shocking news from Paris, France. Shedeur Sanders is dominating Fashion Week, not just capturing pictures. According to reports, Shedeur and his brother Shiloh have inked a huge $80 million contract with the upscale real estate company Amiri. You heard correctly, $80 million. Additionally, this isn't just a typical endorsement in which they hold a bag in a commercial or wear the clothing on Instagram. No. It's a partnership. According to reports, both brothers will walk the Paris runway. We are discussing European high-fashion runways in their entirety. Fashion Week catwalks are practically replacing touchdown celebrations for Shedeur Sanders. To be honest, I'm all for it. To comprehend the swag, you must examine the family history. Shiloh made the remark, "I know he has a better closet for sure," in a recent video. We both have gear, but I now have more free time. We obtain it during prime time. He dislikes to admit it, but our dad already wore everything he attempted to wear. Amiri wrote the check precisely because of his faith. They are aware that the Sanders name has significance outside of football. It's a currency of culture. This Amiri deal wasn't a solitary effort, so we must take a moment to discuss the Shiloh aspect. We've witnessed athlete brothers like the Mannings, Kelseys, and Watts for many years, but the Sanders brothers are creating something unique. By signing Shiloh, the safety, and Shedeur at quarterback, they are a brand package. Companies are targeting two distinct audiences in air. The cool, collected leader is Shedeur. Shiloh is the CEO of the Headache Gang, the wild card, the trash talker. When combined, they produce a dynamic that is perfect for reality TV. Companies aren't paying for just their athletic prowess. They have to pay for their chemistry. When a microphone is placed in front of them, they pay for the viral moments that result. This package deal strategy is brilliant because it insulates them. When one player performs poorly, the other takes up the burden. They become the most intriguing family in sports since the Balls, but with much more upscale appeal, and their marketability is doubled.
For sure. Here's a little bit more free time. Yeah, I got some more free time now. But we both have swag, you know what I'm saying? We get it from prime time. He hates to say it, but everything he try to wear, our dad already did, so he think he be doing his own thing, but...
However, the fashion industry is really an appetizer. The financial revolution taking place in the boardroom is the primary cause. Let's revisit the Gatorade agreement. $60 million were turned down. To genuinely comprehend the genius of declining $60 million, you must recognize the distinction between riches and wealth. A paycheck is rich. Rich is a one-time payment of $60 million. This is the unspoken truth of money, though. It vanishes. 40% is immediately deducted by taxes. Another portion is taken by agent fees. The remainder is eroded by inflation. It disappears if you spend it. Athletes who earned $100 million and went bankrupt abound in history. Equity is wealth. Ownership is wealth. Shedeur Sanders connected himself with Gatorade USA by negotiating for a 3% stake in the company. He does not work for Gatorade, he is a partner. Shedeur gets paid every time a new flavor is introduced, every time a child purchases a Gatorade after practice, and every time a cooler is thrown on a coach's head during a Super Bowl. This is a market wager. It is a wager that Gatorade will keep expanding and that his brand will support that expansion. In 10 years, the 3% ownership might be worth $200 million, $300 million, or more if Gatorade's valuation rises. He exchanged the limited quality of cash now for an endless supply of cash tomorrow. Shedeur didn't invent this strategy, but he is perfecting it at a younger age than anyone else. He is adhering to the legend's blueprint. Take a look at Kobe Bryant. When Body Armor sports drink was a tiny business, he contributed $6 million. Kobe's stake was valued at $400 million when Coca-Cola acquired Body Armor. Take a look at LeBron James. In order to invest in a small pizza restaurant called Blaze Pizza, he turned down a guaranteed $15 million endorsement agreement with McDonald's. The current value of that equity holding is tens of millions. Shedeur studied these techniques. He realized that the salary did not contain the genuine money. It was in the exit. The distinction is that LeBron and Kobe took these actions as veterans. They were known myths. But Shedeur is doing this before he has thrown a single touchdown pass during the regular season. He is accelerating the chronology. He is bringing seasoned business acumen to an inexperienced career. The owners are afraid because he knows the game better than they do.
Contract. He had an equity clause in his deal with Gatorade. That clause basically said, I'm not just here as a name or a body. I want part of what's being built off of me. I want ownership in the outcome. So that clause essentially just preserved his interest. He walked away with his corrected status in the contract.
However, the Gatorade agreement is only one mini pillars. The stats are really astounding, so we must discuss his Nike contract. Shedeur Sanders reportedly received a whopping $125 million contract before he even took a snap in the NFL. Critics lost their minds. They referred to it as a bubble. How can you pay a rookie $125 million, they asked. He hasn't demonstrated anything. However, Shedeur's group was prepared with a trap card. A unique clause known as the active player escalator was deeply ingrained in that agreement. The language was straightforward but effective. The value of the contract would double as soon as Shedeur Sanders took the field for an official NFL activity, whether it be during the preseason or the regular season as an active roster member. Thus, that $125 million contract turned into a $250 million empire over the course of 4 years as soon as he put on his cleats for the Cleveland Browns in the preseason. According to reports, he was able to obtain a 50% royalties cut on all of his jersey sales. When it comes to jersey sales, NFL players typically receive cents on the dollar. That model was broken by Shedeur. He keeps half of the earnings. That is a level of leverage never seen before. Without acknowledging Deion Sanders, the architect, we cannot tell this tale. The prime-time experiment culminates in this full plan. Before anyone else, Deion anticipated the NIL, or name, image, and likeness era. He set up his boys to serve as test subjects for the new collegiate athletics economy at Jackson State and then Colorado. He showed them that they are media companies as well as athletes. Dion enabled them to go beyond the conventional gatekeepers by creating their own YouTube channels, wealthy media, and managing their own stories and interacting directly with sponsors. An NFL rookie typically has to be marketed by the franchise. Access is managed by the team. However, Shedeur had his own media infrastructure and millions of fans when he joined the NFL. The Browns were not necessary for him to become a star. He was a celebrity already. Shedeur is able to seek 50% royalties in a discussion with Nike because of this Dion masterclass.
Sanders has sold the most amount of jerseys out of any rookie this year, 375,000 jerseys to match his NFL contract.
Shedeur does more than just stock drinks and shoes. His holdings are structured similarly to a hedge fund. He refers to it as prime equity. This is the idea that you own a product rather than merely endorsing it. Examine the portfolio. Brady brand, a collaboration worth an estimated $75 million a year. He gains credibility from the GOAT by aligning himself with Tom Brady. Tech's signature barbecue sauce brand, Food, has partnerships with AT&T and EA Sports. He refers to it as standing on business. This kind of thinking views football as the platform rather than the final objective. The majority of players don't launch enterprises until they retire. While the spotlight is at its peak, Shedeur is constructing the empire. He is spreading out his whisk. The checks would still clear even if football halted tomorrow.
Always smiling. Yeah, I'm always smiling, that's for sure. I'm heavily involved in the business. I have a vision and I like to see it be achieved. My purpose and my vision is to be in position to have all the resources I ever need. And be able to use them, for people that's coming later on in the generations and later on in my year.
For NFL owners, this is the frightening part. When your rookie quarterback doesn't require his salary, what happens? Teams typically use money to control players. Follow our instructions or we'll be all right. You won't receive your bonus if you don't play through this injury. Shedeur Sanders is earning more money from Nike in a single year than his 4-year rookie contract. He has the most leverage because of this. It empowers him to refuse. Shedeur has the financial security to demand a trade if the Browns are dysfunctional, as we know they are. He has the ability to act like Eli Manning and decline to play for a lousy team. He is able to sit out. The league is terrified by this. They depend on eager, anxious rookies who will stop at nothing to remain in the league. Shedeur Sanders doesn't want their money. He's full. He is able to make choices based on his health and legacy rather than his financial situation. Naturally, hatred follows all of this wealth. Critics are already lining up. They claim he is overly preoccupied with business. They predict that he will be distracted. They claim that Fashion Week is more important than film studies. In the 1990s, we learned this about Deion Sanders. We were informed about LeBron James. However, this is the truth. The football is essential to the business. Shedeur understands this. The Amiri deal is nothing if he goes out and makes 20 interceptions. Gatorade's equity ceases to increase. There are performance requirements in the Nike contract. In actuality, the economic empire increases the pressure on him to succeed. He's not distracted. He has an incentive. He knows he must be elite to maintain the lifestyle. Hollywood's storyline is sluggish. LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan, the greatest businessmen in sports, were also the hardest laborers. The same cloth is cut Shedeur. Standing on business is a phrase Shedeur frequently uses. It sounds like a slogan to some people. It sounds like a line from a rap song. For Shedeur Sanders, however, it is a way of life. When you stand on your own 2 feet, you don't allow your emotions to influence your financial choices. It implies that you handle yourself like a business. When Shedeur walks into a meeting, he isn't walking in as a 22-year-old kid. He enters the room as SS2 Corp's CEO. He knows his measurements. He knows his value. The locker room is changing because of this mentality. There are other gamers observing. Why don't I have equity? They're asking their agents. Why am I not receiving royalties? Shedeur Sanders is revolutionizing the game. He is showing the younger generation that being a player isn't the only option. You can own. You don't have to just wear the shoes. You can collaborate with the business.